Hey there, welcome. I'm Jennifer Malloway, and today I want to know what your favorite dog breed is. There are so many different breeds of dogs, and there's a lot to learn about them. Once you start digging in, it's really interesting, and it's funny. There's just so much more than most of us are really aware of. You know, when you think of dogs, usually the first ones that come to my mind, at least, are, labs and golden retrievers and doodles these days, which isn't even a recognized breed at this point in time, but that's kind of what we're going to get into a little bit today. So let me know. What's your favorite breed? And is this the breed that you currently own or have had in the past? Or maybe you are looking at getting a dog and you're exploring different breeds. This conversation might be especially beneficial for you if you're in that category, looking to get a dog. I have been, as you may already know, looking to get another dog for quite some time. Actually, I started doing this research even long before Dizzy came into my life, and so I think it's always fun. Anytime I have a friend who says they're starting to look at different breeds or looking at getting a dog, I just think it's really fun to talk about and do a little research because there are, well, I'll get to that. By the way, for some reason, my comments aren't showing up for me in Ecamm, and so I'm gonna keep checking Facebook and try and keep up with them. But please let me know that you're here, and I will try and figure that out as we go. Jesse says labs are great, of course. You've got three, right? Am I right? And so I'm assuming if you've got three of them, that labs are probably your favorite breed. I'd love to know why. What is it about labs that you love so much? I mean, there's stuff to love about every breed and every dog, but I'm just always curious to know why people are drawn to a specific breed. I mean, clearly labs are just super lovable, which is why they're so popular. But I'd love to know what is it that drew you to them. Yeah, because a lot of times, the biggest thing I think that draws people to one breed over another, or one category of breeds, is the biggest thing is usually appearance. We like the appearance that we like, but there's a lot more, of course, that come into play when if you're going with a particular breed or breed mix. So yeah, so you must like the look of labs, and they are adorable. But there's even a lot of variation within the breed too. Not just in color, but totally different lines. If you're looking at field bred labs versus show line labs, you're gonna get a very different look and very different energy levels too, which can be really important. I haven't asked you, Jesse, which do you know which type of labs are living with you right now? Because that can affect your whole household dynamic. Let's see. Jesse says yes. I'm assuming that was about they are your favorite. So let's go back. Let's go back in time a little bit first, because I think this is really interesting. The history. We suspect that, or given the information that we've got today, we suspect that the first, the ancestors of dogs were first domesticated sometime between 15 and 30,000 years ago. And the first dog breeds, or the oldest dog breeds rather, didn't even exist until about 300 or 400 years ago. That's a huge gap. That's a huge amount of time when dog breeds just weren't even a thing, right? And beyond that, or even more than that, the very first kennel clubs, which are the organizations that really determine, what is a dog breed, or they're the ones that recognize the various breeds. The first of those didn't even exist until the late 1800s, and that's really not that long ago. That means that we weren't even recognizing all of the different breeds that we've got today until not even 150 years ago. And so people get, we get so like attached to certain breeds, or like we, opinionated about, which breeds are better or worse, or even worth being recognized. If you're in the show, if you're into showing dogs at all, there's so many opinions, but breeds haven't even been around that long. And which I just think is so interesting. And it also shows just like, I don't know, I'm really, really fascinated by evolution, and how incredible it is that, once humans were knowledgeable enough and had enough influence over this one species, that we were able to breed them in such a way that their physical appearances, their phenotypes, as far as I know, dogs and maybe humans are really the only species that have this much variation in how they can look, how big they can be, and their body structure and their muscles and their fur, and there's just so much variation in how dogs can look. And I think it's incredible that all of that was contained in the ancestors of dogs, right? And it's just so amazing. I mean, actually, why don't I pull some of these up just to really see how different they can be. I can Google this, I think. Let me see here. If we nope, not that one. Here we go. How about no, not that. Can we share? Yay, we can share. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there's so much variation in that. A dog can look like this, when under 10 pounds, to all the way to an Irish wolfhound, right? Which weighs, I want to say, darn near 200 pounds. And just look at that difference in how they can look, right? And even this, right? I mean, the Commodore, like, that coat is just so vastly different from our Chihuahua. And even this, right? The French Bulldog, like, their body structure and their muzzle, their face, just everything, like, they can look so different. Yeah. And I just think it's so incredible how genes can express themselves so differently. And none of this would have happened without the influence of us humans, right? Let me go back and Jesse, see, you said, okay, they're friendly and lovable. That is what you love about labs. And you've got 2 black labs and an English chocolate lab puppy. Okay, the English chocolate's the puppy. Are the black labs English and show line? I might have been using those terms interchangeably. So are the black labs field line, meaning they're like usually taller, a little bit more lanky, sporty, probably more energetic? Are the black ones more on that side, or closer? They look similar to the English. Yeah, it's even within one breed. It's so interesting. Yeah, so we've been able to exert all of this influence over this species to get all of these different looking breeds. And of course, originally they were most of them were bred for a specific purpose, and based on what they were originally bred for, not only did their physical appearance change, but their behavioral tendencies change quite a lot too. So, for example, labs, of course, they're hunting dogs. I don't know if you can hear Dizzy. He's growl. He likes to lie under my desk. But then of course if my chair wheels, if they shift at all, he likes to warn me, like, do not roll over me. And it's, I'm sorry, bud, but this is my spot. Anyway, yeah, so labs, of course, they're hunting dogs, and so they've been bred, these behavioral traits have been bred into their different breeds. And most of us, not all, but most of us these days, when we're getting a dog, we're probably not going to be involving our dog in the activity that they were originally bred for. So it pays off for us to consider the type of behaviors that they're going to be more likely to express in this new world, in this new environment where they're not living on a farm, and they're living in a city, and they're going to be encountering a lot of people and other dogs. And so based on the type of lifestyle that you would like to have with your dog, based on the type of activities that you'd like to do together, it can help, if you've got a dog, it can help just to understand them a little bit better, and improve your lives together, just to understand kind of like where they came from in that sense. Or if you're the one who's wanting to get a dog and you're looking at, which breed should I get, understanding the likelihood that different behaviors are going to be more prevalent, can help you choose a dog that's a good fit for your home, your lifestyle. And that's why this information can be so helpful. Now, of course, it always comes down to the individual dog. Just because, you get a lab, say, Labrador Retriever, they, say you wanted a dog who really, really wants to play fetch, and they're going to bring things to you, or maybe you're going to even train them to fetch the newspaper, or, whatever, just a silly example. But say, like, you wanted that behavior from your dog. And so you're like, I'm getting a lab. It's really helpful, I think, to still understand that even though you get a lab, doesn't guarantee, of course, that they're going to express any certain behavioral trait. There's still variation within a breed. It's just that if you're choosing one breed over another for a particular reason, you may be more likely to see certain behaviors expressed. And Jesse says the black labs are mixed. Chocolate labs are smaller and stocky. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And they all get along. You said, remind me, the puppy's, I want to say 7 or 9 months old, somewhere around there. Gosh, that's such a fun age. Can be frustrating, but it can be really fun too. Yeah, let me, see here. If, let's see. Anybody else watching has a dog, has a favorite breed that you want to talk about? Maybe some breeds that you're looking at, interested in, and want to learn more about. Because, like I said, there are breed clubs, breed organizations. Most of us here in the U.S. are familiar with the AKC, or the American Kennel Club, but there are tons. There are different kennel clubs in, different countries all over the world. And something I didn't learn until today, I was like doing a little bit of research, that there's what's it called? There's an organization called FCI, which is in French, but in English it translates to the World Canine Organization. This is an organization that's like it's a group of kennel clubs, and AKC and the Kennel Club in the United Kingdom aren't even a part of this. But it's so interesting how some people organized, created this organization, and they said, okay, this dog and this breed and this breed and this breed, we're gonna recognize these dogs as part of a breed. And what that really means is that we're just closing the gene pool. And so any dogs that do not fit this description, which could be physical and behavioral, any dogs that do not fit these precise guidelines aren't a part of the breed. And this was all just stuff we decided at some arbitrary point in time, right? That's so funny to me. But and because of that, and because there are various organizations now, there are breeds there that you might hear about in England that just aren't even recognized breeds here in the United States, and likewise, organizations that are part of this FCI may have breeds that aren't recognized anywhere in the world except in their country of origin. So at least I used to think of breeds as kind of like it's this concrete thing. There are labs, there are Goldens, there are border collies, I don't know. but it really was like we just decided, okay, from this point in time on, like, this is a lab and nobody else can breed with this group. And that's it, right? Which actually can cause a lot of problems, of course, because what that really means is a closed gene pool, or a smaller gene pool, has a much higher potential to lead to a lot of health problems, which is why purebred dogs often have specific health problems that you want to test for and look out for. And reputable, responsible breeders, of course, will do these tests, but that's why that happens, is because we closed off the gene pool on a particular group of dogs. It's just so wild. Puppy is purebred, he says. Okay. Do you research? Let's see. She says, do you research before you adopt? You learned this the hard way. You adopt 2 beagle brothers from rescue and had no idea what you were getting yourself into. Oh my gosh. And beagles, my mom's favorite breed is the beagle, and we had one when I was a kid, and I think we didn't get to keep her. Gosh, it's been so long, I don't even remember. How bad is that? But we didn't get to keep her because beagles, because they're hounds, they have a tendency to really follow their nose above all else, above listening to their humans, possibly, above working for treats. They are all about that nose, and that can sometimes lead to a dog who just runs away because they're just following their nose, and that was the case with ours. My family was so chaotic. There were 4 of us kids. My mom was, I'm sure, overwhelmed with trying to take care of us and this beagle who was so cute. But yeah, it's the kind of thing that it's helpful to understand, at least. It's not that you shouldn't get a beagle. Beagles are wonderful dogs, but it can just help you take better care of them, or at least help you to feel more prepared for the challenges that they do present. Thank you for sharing that, Say. That's, oh my gosh, beagles. I've been seeing beagles lately, and they seem to be smaller than they used to. I don't know. But that, again, goes back to the whole concept of a breed and breed clubs, because it's like they can, change the guidelines, or change the breed description over time. And it happens. There are people out there who are vehemently against this, but in my opinion, and I don't show dogs. I'm not like, I don't live in the breed club world, but from my perspective as a trainer who's concerned with dogs' behavioral health, and who wants my clients and every dog owner, really, I want them to have the best experience and the dogs to live their best life. My concern is more with making sure that the dogs are physically healthy, and behaviorally healthy. Some examples are French bulldogs, who have become really popular in recent years. They like a lot of other brachycephalic dogs, the dogs with the smushed in noses, they have a lot of trouble breathing, and to such an extent that a huge percentage of them require surgery just to be able to breathe, and that's the kind of thing where, in my opinion, if I were on the board of these breed organizations, I would be all for breeding in or changing, maybe changing the description, just to give those type of dogs a little bit more snout, just so that they can breathe normally. That affects their whole life, day and night, from the time they're born till the time they die. That's a health concern, and that's, maybe I'm anthropomorphizing, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to live my whole life just struggling to breathe. But that's the kind of thing that can go wrong when we really breed for these extreme physical traits, especially when they're vastly different from the shape that dogs originally came from, right? Another example, let me think. Say says French bulldogs are so cute, and they are so cute, and they have their personalities, like they just have so much personality, and they can be so endearing. But that, and that's why I think, some people are like, no, change nothing about the breed. But when you get like this really cute dog at the expense of, their quality of life, I'm willing to, this is my opinion. I'd be the person that's absolutely willing to change their appearance a little bit, if it provided a better quality of life for them. I get not everybody feels the same way, but I don't know, it's worth having the discussion, because all of us here love dogs. I think we all want the best for dogs, and that seems like an area of concern. Now, another thing that I, if I ruled the world, that I might change in some of these breed descriptions, and therefore, change breeding practices, best breeding practices, would be all of those breeds, who are actually, even in the breed description, they are intentionally bred to be, how I would describe it, is harder to socialize. And what that means is that they require, in order to live happily, harmoniously in this human world, where they might be in a city and they might have to encounter a lot more than their original purpose, it means that if they're not exposed to a lot more stimuli, and in a very gradual, controlled, and positive manner, that they really struggle to accept novelty throughout their adult life. They have to be, in their first 3, maybe 4 months of life, but definitely their first 3 months of life, they really have to be carefully socialized, more than another breed, like say a lab. Labs are on the opposite end of the spectrum. You should still socialize them, absolutely, but labs may not require as much care in socializing as another breed, who I say they're harder to socialize. But if you were to look on your breed club's breed description, or any website really that talks about a specific breed, they sometimes use different words, different language, to get across the same idea. A lot of times I see the word aloof in these descriptions. Usually that means that as adults, they don't want as much to do with humans, and so if they are missing this experience of socialization in their early puppyhood, that behavioral trait can be more extreme, which can lead to a lot of more fear or more aggression, and no dog owner really wants to deal with that, right? So aloof is one of those words you see in breed descriptions. One person dog or one family dog, same idea. They bond very well with a person or with the people in their household, but they struggle to be around strangers, new people, and those strangers might not be strangers to you. So if you like to entertain, if you like to have guests, and you have a dog, one of these breeds, it will really, really be helpful to you to make sure that they get the proper socialization as a puppy. But we wouldn't have to worry about this quite as much if we were able to change the breed descriptions so that we bred for friendlier German Shepherds, as an example, or I don't know, herding breeds tend to require a little bit more careful socialization too. There are tons of breeds of this category that I'm describing that they really require more socialization than some naturally more friendly breeds. Let's see. You had no idea that those dog had breathing issues. Poor babies. Yeah, I know. I had heard that kind of in passing a while ago, but I keep hearing more and more. Like I didn't know that Frenchies require surgeries as often as they do, and those are expensive. So if you're getting a Frenchie, hopefully you're ready for that expense, you know. And even last week, I saw. I didn't look further into this, but I saw a collage of photos of Frenchies who they were sleeping and they had learned they were holding something in their mouth, so it was just something to kind of prop their mouth open, and the caption said something along the lines of like, these are all dogs who had learned to use a tool to open up their airways while they're sleeping, because otherwise they can't sleep if they can't breathe. And oh my gosh, what an existence. Yeah, I had no idea, and like the more I hear, the worse it is, and that's why I'm like, people should know this. This is valuable information. Yeah. Say says, how do you recommend mixing breeds that are super different? Let's say playful beagles and lazy poodles. That is a mix that I don't think I've seen that before. I mean, it seems to be the trend to mix any breed with a poodle these days. Doodles are super popular, and I don't have anything against mixing breeds, because like I said, I'm not like a purist when it comes to breeds. I think, and I'm certainly not a breeder, so maybe a very responsible breeder could be more informative on this. But some things that I would be aware of would be just if you're mixing very different breeds that are different sizes. Of course, the mama should always be the larger dog, just for her safety, the baby's safety. And as a consumer, I guess that's the word, as a potential dog owner, some things that I would just want to be aware of is that if you are mixing two completely different breeds, it's really important to know that you may not always get the best of this breed and the best of that breed, right? And this isn't just like good breeding versus bad breeding or anything like that. This could be with the same parents within the exact same litter. You could have one dog who, what was your example? You said playful beagle, or playful, actually say lazy poodle. That is interesting. But let's say just to use your example, playful beagle, lazy poodle, you may not get the playfulness of the beagle and the laziness of the poodle. Although I'm like, this is why I'm confused, is because all of the poodles that I've met are far from lazy. Oh my gosh, they are so energetic and so like they're train crazy. They love to work, and oh my god, I mean they were hunting dogs too, right? Yeah. So those are the poodles I know. Maybe but that's, again, it goes back to there's so much variation even within a single breed. So you know what? I think really the biggest takeaway here is that you can pick a dog for how it looks or how you think it's going to act, but you're going to get so much variation that there's no guarantees. That's the takeaway. There are no guarantees. If you're like, I want a purebred beagle because I love the way they act and I love the way they look, you may get a beagle who acts totally different. It could happen. And just being ready for that. It's just, I don't know, having realistic expectations, or just knowing, the possibilities just helps, I think, to handle really anything in life, not just with dogs, but yeah, just knowing what to expect is helpful. Oh, okay. My brain is like, pew! I get really like sidetracked, and I just realized like I'm doing this this certification, a trainer certification right now, and in one of the recent modules, they're just talking about like how even when they're going to experience something bad, even when dogs are going to experience something potentially uncomfortable or painful or or scary, knowing what to expect can really really help them. And oh my gosh, that was the light bulb moment I just had, was that like it's the same for us, So, okay, let me get back to breeds and mixing breeds and knowing what to expect. One thing that is really, really common and can be very disappointing for those owners who they get a doodle, they get a poodle mix with anything, because they're told that poodles are hypoallergenic, and so their doodle is going to be hypoallergenic, and that I think is really it's misleading. And if breeders aren't being really informative with you about that, that's really not it's not responsible, it's not kind to the owners, and it's not being protective of the puppies, because you want owners to know, you want them to know what they're getting as best you can, right? So when you mix a poodle with another breed, the differences that can occur are wild. Like you can get dogs that look like, okay, let's just because golden doodles are the poodle mix that I have the most experience with. A doodle, a 50% golden, 50% poodle, standard poodle, can look pretty much like a golden. I've seen them with golden fur, and pretty much they're very straight, just slightly wavy, long fur, all the way to ones that look pretty much like a poodle, very tight curls, perhaps non-shedding, but you can get either extreme or anywhere in between. Some of them are going to shed, some of them are not. You're going to have, all different colors. A golden doodle can be a solid black. Like, you can get anything, any variation. And so if you are, say, you're allergic to dander, or you've got a household member who is, and so you want to get a dog, but you want to get one that is non-shedding, perhaps, you will have a much better chance of getting that trait if you go with a poodle. Or another non-shedding breed. Terriers, a lot of the wire-haired terrier breeds, a lot of them may not shed, or not shed as much. And so when you go complete, cross of wildly different breeds, you may get what you want, but you may not. And so it's just more of a toss-up. But like I said, I always want to go back to, it's always a toss-up, there are no guarantees. So if you're selecting a dog, you can shoot for likelihoods. You can pick a breed that fits your lifestyle. You can pick a breeder who has done everything right by your puppy until it comes home to you. But still, there are no guarantees. So it's just, it's kind of like having a human baby, like we choose a partner who we really want to, but like your kid could still turn out however. It's like, it's just, I don't know, there's so much that goes into it, and it's so funny, but yeah. Oh, Ginger, hi. Wait, I missed a comment, I think. And hi, Floyd. I definitely made you think about breeds and breeding management. Oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like this is, like I said, I am not a breeder. I just think this stuff is fascinating and can be really helpful for us to know. Ginger says, oops, I didn't mean the angry face. I must have missed a message. And I don't know why my comments aren't working the way they normally do, so I'm definitely missing some things here. Is there not a way? No. I'm sorry, Ginger. I can't even see what the original comment was, but I'm sure you didn't mean an angry face. So you do have poodles now? I mean, that's great. Like, I think lazy dogs are awesome. Like, they're definitely easier to live with. Of course, as a trainer who like like that's all I want to do all day, every day. Like I kind of like having my kind of crazy dog who's hiding under the desk at the moment. I kind of like the really like nutty, high energy breeds, but lazy dogs certainly are easier. So good for you. Good for your poodles. How many do you have? Um, uh, oh, and you said long live mutts, like a floofy surprise. Absolutely. We didn't even talk about mutts, you know. I know lots and lots of people who think that because mutts, you know, because they're mutts and they might have a mix of a ton of different breeds, that they are automatically healthier, and they can be because of that open gene pool, right? But not necessarily. It's always a toss up. I like how you said that though. Just a floofy surprise, you know, where they're gonna come and they're gonna live with us and we're gonna love them no matter what. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But people get really like into their breed. It's funny. Like I haven't I have my I'll share with you my the breeds that I'm drawn to are uh they tend to be herding breeds. The look I like is long, straight fur. I like the pointy ears. That's the and the longer snouts. Those are just the aesthetic type appearance that I like. However, as I'm considering or any time that I would be considering getting a dog for myself, my own lifestyle, I have to also consider that a common trait for that group of breeds is that they tend to be very barky. And I am a sound sensitive human. Like I just don't you know, and it's so not fair to be a person who wants to bring a dog to live with me and then expect them not to vocalize. You know, that would be unrealistic. So if I'm choosing a breed, you know, I can choose one that tends to be less barky. Or if I get a breed because I like everything else about them except the vocalization, at least I know that like maybe barking would be something that I can start working on very early on, you know. Just like if you want a breed who is aloof or harder to socialize, it just lets you know that you might be wanting to put more effort into that area that has potential to be a problem. Not that it necessarily is, but like you know, if you're getting to know me, I'm just I like to be really proactive and prevent problems before they're problems. I just think it makes life so much easier. Osei says you have crazy poodles. Sorry, lazy poodles, crazy beagles. How did I ask how many you have? You rescued them all, and they drive you crazy on a daily basis. But you love them so much, of course. And I think if I didn't ask, how many do you have of each? How many dogs total? Holy hell. I'm like more than one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're getting ourselves into something, but that can be fun too. Is it true that pointy ears are better than floppy ears in terms of health concerns? Easier to take care of, as floppy-eared doggos tend to get more ear stuff. In my experience, I think that's true. You know, any dog can end up with an ear infection, but because when the ears are flopped over, there's less airflow. It tends to create a more moist environment in the ears, which of course can lead to bacteria and infections and stuff like that. That's I think why that happens. Of course, the hair, amount of hair and type of hair too. Some dogs, if they've got like really long hair and it kind of gets in their ears, it's just the more stuff. And again, you know, it's not like I don't know. I tend to hesitate with like value judgment, like better and worse. But it's just more information, right? It just tells you like if you've got a dog who's prone to any health concern. just to be more proactive about it, right? Two beagles and two poodles. Okay, that is quite a household. Are they standard poodles, or minis, or toys? um, but yeah, that's a really good question, because as much physical variation as they have, you can get many different types of health concerns, just as the behavioral concerns too. So yeah, just knowing what you've got can be helpful. But of course, going back to our lovable mutts, this is really fascinating, I think, is that, people are really, like, when you adopt a mixed breed dog, a lot of people, myself included, it's just like we need to know. It's like, what are they? What breeds are they? Which is why these genetic testing companies have really kind of exploded. As soon as you get a dog, you're like, like, I really want to know what they are. And so you do these tests, and just like the human, human genetics testing companies are really growing too. The results that you get are based on the sampling that they exist in their database at that given time, right? So I've done this for myself. I've done one of those genetic testing companies, and it tells you, like, you're such and such percent Georgian, or such and such percent South African, or whatever, and it'll change. And that's what blows my mind, is that, like, it'll give you your results, your little profile, and the more people give their information, the more people participate, it can change how they define Eastern European or whatever. And that's just so, I don't know, that's just so wild to me. But it's the same with the dogs too. It's like they've got a sampling of what they label as a lab or a poodle, or but there are different pools of genes in the different countries, and it's so what the results that you get back for your dog can be, they can change over time. Probably not too much, but it's I don't know, I think that's interesting. It's also really, really interesting to know that judging, like trying to figure out what breed a dog, or multiple breeds a dog is, based on appearance alone, can be wildly inaccurate. And this is true not just of the general public, but of people who work in shelter environments and see lots of different breeds, come in and out, week after week. Even people with that level of experience can be wildly inaccurate when guessing what a breed is. And I just think that's so interesting. If you look up, like, I don't even know how you'd Google this, really. But I've seen examples of, like, you'll see two parents of purebred dogs, and you'll get a puppy that looks nothing like either of them. Often they get labeled as a pit bull, but the parent breeds are so different. And it's just so interesting that you can look at a dog and think, oh my gosh, that's absolutely a corgi, I don't know, Jack Russell Terrier. And you're like, I see it, it's in there, and then do one of those tests, and they've got neither of those breeds. It's just the expression of genes, the physical expression of genes it just can be so different, and it's so, like, I don't know, that blows my mind. And one of the poodle, they're the poodle mixes. You've got a Maltese poodle mix, and a Bichon poodle. Oh, cute. Well, that's okay. Those are interesting. I like those mixes because Maltese and Bichons are, they're sort of more similar to poodles, So, and they're also, like, super, super cute. Maltipoos are, like, some of my favorite poodle mixes. And yeah, Dizzy's a mix. And I don't even know exactly what, because he's a really, really great example of the the little bit of wishy-washiness when it comes to genetics testing and breeds in general. So funny story. I've told it before. I'll tell it again. But Dizzy, what came from a rescue originally. A family adopted him and then rehomed him with me. But when I got him, I was able to connect with a couple of the other families who had adopted some of his litter mates from that shelter, and each of them separately had gone to do a DNA test, and they each did a different company. Different genetics testing company. Blah, blah, blah. I can't I can't speak today. But the results that they got from dogs in the same litter were different and kind of inconclusive. So I'd love to ask them again and have them send me so I can look at it. But what they told me was that one of them was like this is a Aussie, German Shepherd, Poodle, Chihuahua, Doberman, and like a small percentage of just like mixed super mutt, they say, right? So just like a ton of different stuff, right? And then the other one, the results came back and it said 50% herding breed. Like they didn't even specify that it was Australian Shepherd. He could be Border Collie, which is what I'd been telling people, but who knows, I'm curious, what did you think he was? Or did I say he was something? Because sometimes I'm just like, for simplicity's sake, I don't like to explain too much if I'm, not to you guys, but sometimes I don't go into the full story. So, what did you think Dizzy was? I mean, besides gorgeous, he's just my gorgeous boy. Are you still sleeping down there? Yeah, he's sleeping. He's being a lazy bones today. It's funny you say he's such a well-behaved cutie. He can be. Actually, yeah, in our house, he's grown into a very well-behaved dog. I'm really impressed with him, because the reason that I got him was that the family who was raising him since puppyhood, he just had so much energy, and honestly, most puppies do, and they tend to mellow out, sometime between 1 year old and 3 years old anyway. But yeah, that first year is just it can be a lot, and especially when you've got the type of breed or breed mix that just tends to be more like crazy and energetic. That can be a lot to handle, and so I don't know. So I got him at that stage in his life. He was an adolescent. He was 9 months old. He was like wild, But he's grown up so much, and I'm so proud of him. I'd pull him up here, but he's napping so nicely. So, yeah. Oh, thought he was a Border Collie. Yeah. So I probably said that too, because that's what I think. I say he's either half Border Collie or half Aussie. Like, it's definitely one of the two, because he's got a lot of the herding breed traits, a little bit of that reactivity, but he's super friendly for the most part, and but he does the Border Collie stalk, when you see like another dog like a long ways off, if you're a dog and you're off leash, where he'll like get really low, get down really low and like just eye stalk them. That's super Border Collie trait. So yeah, that's what I thought he was too. But Aussies will do that. And that is how he was labeled at the shelter, was Aussie mix. So who knows? I didn't get all of the information from the shelter because he came to me later in life. But yeah, it's so interesting just to see like. Most of the time, if you've got a mixed breed and you do the DNA test, it's really just out of curiosity, you're just like, how did he come to be the way that he is, it's just fun to know. But say Border Collies are super energetic, and he's so sweet and mellow, at least on camera. That's, without, I don't want to take too much credit, because like I said, he's just grown up a lot, but we also do a lot of training, and so He can mellow out in the house. That also could just be, the other breeds, like whatever else he's mixed with, kind of helped mellow out the border collie-ness, or maybe whatever parent was a mellow border collie anyway. But that's what I'm saying, is that, like, you just never know what you're gonna get. It's so wild. So yeah, it's just interesting. But whatever you've got, purebred, mixed breed, like whatever traits got expressed in the dog that you've got, we love them all, right? We love them, and we learn to provide outlets that they need. If he was more, well, I'll put this in quotes, if he was more border collie, we would just do more more exercise, more running around outside, and it's really fun, like those people who go out and do dog sports, as especially like the breed specific dog sports. Like there are like sheep herding sports where you can take your purebred border collie and you can go learn to herd sheep for sport. It's a great outlet for that dog. And I just like that's really cool, I think. But yeah, we love the dog in front of us. And you're whining. You're such a whiner. He's a big whiner too. Like if he doesn't get food off your plate, if he doesn't get pets when he wants to be petted, I love all the sounds he makes. It's a lot of like, I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the other thing is that when he's on camera, usually if he's on camera, usually he's either in his bed, which is right next to, if you can see that little blue thing. Wait, I'm not good at this yet. That little blue tower right there is his pet tutor, which is essentially, it's a robot. It's a treat dispenser, glorified treat dispenser for training. But I keep that by his bed so I can reward him for spending more time there. So that training helps. Also, if he's been up here with me on camera, I've just got like a little box that he sits on, so it doesn't give him a lot of room to like be moving around. He has been trying to climb on the desk though, which is not really conducive to being on camera. Otherwise he's just gonna stand right in front of the camera the whole time. He's like, where's my food, woman? But yeah, he's funny, but I just love watching him grow. It's fun. So yeah, I don't know, like what else can we talk about breeds? I pulled up here. This is interesting, like how the breed clubs will organize the breeds, and how they come to recognize different breeds. Like how that happens, it seems, is just people start mixing different breeds, or they'll see, they'll have dogs that are expressing certain traits, and they start selecting just for those traits, and then if they'll heck, I don't even know. I just know at some point, if there are enough of them, and if the AKC deems them to be different enough and well-bred, I want to say like healthy, behaviorally healthy, I don't know. Eventually a time comes when they officially like recognize that breed, and then those dogs can be registered with the breed club, and it's like, it's interesting. But they also will organize, breeds into different categories. So you've got hound, you've got dogs in the hound group, say, and what would poodles be considered sporting dogs or working dogs? Shush, I'm not stepping on you. But oh gosh, I mean, we could talk all day about this. This is so interesting. Yeah. Like the sporting dogs, tend to be your hunting dogs, your retrievers, your spaniels, setters, pointers. Those are like any breeds that fall into those categories. And sporting, I mean, it kind of can be self-explanatory in the sense that like they tend to be very energetic and active. And so if you like those breeds, be ready to spend more time outdoors, and or getting them more exercise in some form or fashion. Let's see, the hounds, like we said, you've got your beagles, and even within the hound group, you've got scent hounds, which again, those that would be your beagles, or sight hounds, which might be like your greyhounds, that hunt more based on sight than using their nose, which is, and often breeds that were, so it's interesting. Hunting was the primary purpose for a lot of breeds, but the actual dog's function in the hunt could be vastly different. And this gets so interesting because the dogs, like your retrievers, who were bred to retrieve, to go get the prey is not the word, is it? Get the game, and carry it undamaged and uneaten back to the hunter. We're bred for these behavioral traits where they can have a gentle mouth, and not necessarily actually do the killing of the prey, but other breeds might have been. Your terriers, who were bred to, go down into holes, and some of them, might have been bred to like bark continuously until the hunter arrived. And those breeds today are going to be the breeds that tend to be very vocal and bark a lot, and people are like, oh my God, why? But that was their function when they were used for hunting. So interesting. Also means that they might tend to be more drawn to chasing critters, cats and squirrels and rats, anything, which, if you've got land or you've got a mouse problem or something, it might be very handy to have a terrier, but it does mean that sometimes they're more prone to actually catching and killing these small mammals, or maybe not mammals, I don't know. But that can be a trait that is more expressed in your dogs, and of course, a lot of times we humans, if our dog kills something, we're like horrified. It's like, oh, my baby, my sweet little fluffy, my fluffy mutt, how could you do such a horrible thing? But it's not a horrible thing, right? It's what they were naturally bred to do, so these are some like interesting differences that can be expressed, and heavily expressed depending on the types of breeds. Then, okay, we talked about terriers, which were bred to hunt and kill animals. They also tend to be really like tough. They're like tough dogs, even though oftentimes they're small because they were, they might be trying to dig to find the animals. They can be really like scrappy and just really confident, which might be something you love about them. It might be annoying, but this is all your preference, right? Let's see. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that dachshunds they act very, very, very terrier-like in a lot of cases, but they're not classified as terriers. They're in the hound group. Who knew? Oh, yeah, my glorified treat dispenser. I mean, no, I certainly didn't mean any offense to Pet Tutor. I love this thing. I have 2 of them because I think they're amazing and they're really, really cool for different training applications. Certainly didn't mean any offense. I mean, if you have a few $100s to blow and you want to try it out, like, I highly recommend it. But no, I love that thing. And so does Dizzy, of course. Yes, it's very, very cool. So yeah, and then of course, like I said, there's a whole herding group, which tend to be the dogs that I'm drawn to, even though they, in some cases may not fit exactly with my lifestyle. But something that often crops up as like a complaint that new owners of their herding dogs have, are often like the heel biting, and and barking. They can be barky too. And they can be, herding dogs can be harder to socialize, like going back to what we were talking about before. So they might be the cutest thing you ever saw on the whole planet, but like, for example, if you've got small kids and you don't want your dog to be like chasing them around and biting at their heels, maybe a herding breed wouldn't be for you. I mean, and there are like hundreds of different types of breeds. I mean, in the American Kennel Club, in the AKC alone, I think there's almost 200 recognized breeds right now. And like I said, other kennel clubs will recognize other breeds beyond that. So just, if you're like, Aussies have become very popular, and if you're like, I just love Aussies, I must have one. But if some of those traits would be deal breakers for you, there are other breeds to look into. I'm sorry, I stepped on him again. Oh my goodness, why does he do? You don't have to be under there. Do we need to get another little area to hang out? Yeah, herding dogs, I mean, they're just like I said, they're active, and because they were bred to work alongside humans, well, not all of them, in fact, but some of them, like border collies, are bred to work in close communication with humans, and so as a household family member, who, when they're not used for breeding, a trait that I think is really cool is that they tend to be very like attuned to their human. They seek direction from us, and in some ways, they're described as like easier to train because of that. Dogs that are more labeled more independent, would be difficult to train for a first-time dog owner, say, but there's always a but that can also, but because of their breeding, they can also be way more energetic than the average dog owner wants to deal with, so looking at like your lifestyle, maybe, on Friday I was thinking about maybe going into like what things are important to consider, and which breeds might fit that kind of lifestyle. I don't know. I think that's fun and interesting. But again, it kind of like a lot of times, for better or worse, it comes down to like what people like, what people find visually appealing. So, but that's why I talk about behavior, because behavior is important when you have to live with it. And also it's just fascinating. Say you said one of your beagles is a natural born hunter. Yeah. He chases cockroaches in the garden and steps on them with his paws. That's funny. That's funny that he uses his paws. Dizzy is very interested in, like, well, we found a few different things. Like back in the fall, we found some frogs in the backyard, which can be dangerous, and you don't want to go around letting your dog eat frogs, but Dizzy, like, it's just funny when he encounters something that he's never seen before. He's curious, so he'll do he's got some conflicting emotions. He's like, I wanna check this out. I might want to eat this. I might want to like play with it and hunt it, but also like he's a little bit scared, so he does the stretch investigation. And he'll kind of like back away if it moves, and it's but with the frogs, it was so funny. He started like doing the paw thing, and Dizzy's also killed a few bugs that way too. He's like, I don't know what you are, but maybe you're fun to. Guess my friend is dead. Flies. He's killed a fly that way. But yeah, that's funny. Dizzy's not that much of a hunter like your beagle would be. But it's cute to see like how they interact with the world and with other living things. So we I think there's eight going back to my my breed groups or categories. We said sporting dogs, we said hounds, terriers, herding. Oh, maybe there's 6. But the last 2 are much more diverse than the other groups that we've talked about. So then you've got your working dogs, which, as the name implies, were bred for bred to work for a specific purpose, but depending on that purpose, the breed may be very different from the other breeds in this group. So you've got guard dogs, which, you know, could be your Rotties, your Akitas, your giant Schnauzers, and oftentimes breeds that were bred to, as guard dogs, they're often very good with the family, but can be fearful or aggressive with strangers. Which is how you get those behaviors like barking and growling at people on your property, kind of, you know, the traits that people want in a guard dog. But if you don't understand that those guarding behaviors come from a place of fear or aggressiveness towards strangers, it can help you either choose a breed that's a better fit, or if that is the breed that you know you want, it can help you to understand how to manage the dog, how to help the dog, and how to keep your family and friends safe, how to keep your visitors safe on your property, or in public even, and how to potentially do more in the socialization stage of your puppy's life, to make sure that you're able to balance out those genetic tendencies. So guard dogs, that's a whole thing I could go into. I really think that breeders should be breeding away from those tendencies, but there are cases when you just need a dog to guard stuff. I don't know. But there are other types of working dogs too. You've got your draft dogs or sled dogs, you know, dogs that were intended to pull stuff, like your huskies, which is why if you've got a husky, you might want to spend more time working on really nice leash walking skills, because if you slap a harness on them, especially one that attaches at the middle of their back, they're like, great, game on, let's pull, let's go. And you're like, I don't know why my dog pulls so much. You know, it's because that's what they were bred for. What else? With the sled dogs, it can also be really important to understand how much higher their exercise requirements can be, because pulling a great amount of weight like a sled and like humans and stuff requires, as you can imagine, a lot of energy. You know, your lazy poodles or my lazy Dizzy, you know, they're not going to be pulling anything, you know, that's just too much. But a dog like a husky who's bred for that purpose, they're just going to have a natural, like, much higher amount of energy that they need to expend every day. And so if you're not having them pull sleds, or race or anything like that, you might want to allocate a lot more time or other resources to getting them exercise if you don't want them to drive you nuts. Yeah, so we've got our sled dogs, then you've got your rescue dogs, which is a really cool job, a really cool category of breeds. Those would be like your St. Bernards, Newfoundlands, you know, they tend, those are the ones I know of off the top of my head, and it's funny, they both tend to be like much larger dogs, but yeah, they're breeds that were intended to be rescue dogs, you know, might be in their original function have a need to interact with a lot of new people, and so their natural tendency is to be more friendly towards strangers than your guard dogs, you know. Those traits can really be pulled out and exaggerated through generations of breeding, and that's it's just cool. So if you want a calmer dog and a dog who's going to be really good with your family and with friends and family and guests, and you might look into a dog whose original purpose was for rescue. They can be large. Actually, this is really interesting too. So a lot of times I'll have people, you know, they're looking they want to talk about like what breeds would be a good fit for them, and they're looking at all small breeds because they don't have a lot of space at home. Maybe it's apartment living, or maybe it's just a small house, but they're like, I don't have parks. I don't have a lot of like parks nearby, and I don't have a lot of space inside, and I don't have a yard. So I want to look at a small breed. But size doesn't always correlate with their exercise requirements. A lot of small dog breeds have a very high exercise requirement, and a lot of them might have a high socialization requirement. And so just because they're small doesn't mean that they are a better fit for a small space. So for those people who are like, I need a dog who's good for apartment living or small house or small space, a big dog can still be a good fit if they're lower energy like that. So another consideration. And then our last nope, it's not our last breed group. I knew there were 8. Okay. Then you've got your non-sporting group, which is another one of the kind of catch-all. It feels like a catch-all to me, of breeds of all different temperaments, all different looks and sizes and everything. This would be your poodle, your Bichon, your bulldogs, your Dalmatians, your Chows, your Shar-Peis, Boston Terriers, which in the name it says terrier, but they're not. They have a very different behavioral suite than a lot of your other terriers. Yeah, and so just the only thing I have to say about the non-sporting group as a whole is that because there's so much diversity, if you're looking at one of those breeds, or if you're looking at a number of those breeds, it's worth it just to not rely on the group itself, but do a little more research into what is that breed really like. And then of course, okay, so the last couple of breed groups, at least according to the AKC, are your toy breeds, which are bred to be companion animals for the most part. So they tend to be smaller, or like toy implies, and the biggest concerns. They, like I said, they're often lap dogs. They're often like handling maybe more than some of your other breeds, and like to be near their humans. But some of the things to consider, concerns might be barking. They can often bark a lot. They can have a lot more house training issues, which I talked about last week because we are getting a toy breed, and I don't want, I'm aware that like, okay, house training might be more of an issue with this particular breed, so I'm going to put more effort towards that. And because of their tendency to like want to be super, super close to their owner, they can also have some more lap guarding or resource guarding in general type of aggression, which for me personally, that's a behavior that I really like to work with as far as training goes, and so it's less of a concern coming into my household, but just something that you might want to get ahead of, if that's your breed of choice. Yeah, and then, okay, so the final group would be just like your miscellaneous group, which really is the catch-all, right? I don't know why that wouldn't just be, they wouldn't combine that with a non-sporting group, but your miscellaneous breeds is anything that doesn't go in the other groups, or potentially those breeds that are becoming more popular and that are trying to get recognized. So that might be your doodles. Yeah, so and then just like your non-sporting, do more research into the individual breed, because like I said, especially when they're new, you can get a lot of variability, a lot more than is common knowledge. So yeah, just interesting. That's wild. Like there's just so many. I mean, and to think that there's hundreds and there are becoming even more breeds. I am constantly hearing of, new breeds, and every time I'm like, oh, like I better look this up. What does this one look like, and what are the behavioral traits that are commonly present in this new breed? I certainly don't, even the 197 or however many are currently recognized by the AKC. I'm sure I haven't even heard of all of them, but I think it's really interesting to just kind of like do a little doodling around on the website and just learn about like what's out there. It can be fun. It's a fun little game I like to play. I'm a nerd. Oh my gosh. But yeah. I don't know. Dogs are so interesting, and the variety that's out there is so interesting to me. And it's really fun to meet dogs of different breeds, and I love like when there's like a convention or gathering, people who are breed enthusiasts, they've got their breed and they want to like get in touch with other owners of that breed. They'll be like Corgi Con was a common one that I never got to go, but every year I was like, oh man, I know that's coming up, and there's always something that got in the way. But how cool would that be to just show up and see like hundreds of corgis? But other breeds do this too, and like that's super fun. I think that would be really fun to do with our Pom when she comes home. But first and foremost, our main primary concern is getting that socialization done. Even though she's a Pom, socialization I think is still the number one priority before anything else really when a new puppy comes home. And so we'll be focused on that first, but eventually maybe we'll go to a, like, I don't know if they call it like PomCon or something. Actually, I kind of want to find out. I'm gonna Google this right now. Is there a Pom conference? No, that's not right. I gotta type out Pomeranian, I think. Maybe there's not like a big main one, but it looks like people everywhere, I'm sure, are like doing this with their dogs. It's funny. Okay, well, this is too cute to handle, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, I could look at pictures of Poms all day, and I'm so excited. But I'm gonna go do some research on some more breeds, and we'll talk more on Friday, probably about what to really consider. So if you know anybody who's thinking about getting a dog, that might be the show for them to show up to. Let them know, and hopefully I will see you and them there on Friday at 1 o'clock. All right, have a great day, you guys, and just go love on your dogs. All right, bye-bye.